Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to welcome Mayor Luke Smith, who will introduce and welcome us today. Thank you very much, our host, Mayor Luke Smith.
Thank you, Brooke, and good morning. Before I start, I'd also like to acknowledge our traditional owners and pay my respects to elders past and present. How awesome are those new knuckle dancers? All Logan boys are in the Australian Tourism Hall of Fame, perform before the Queen, all throughout Europe. They deserve another big round of applause. They're just fantastic. And just before they go, there is another presentation that Shannon's going to make, so I'll just get him to come back up. Can I have our two international guests who are here as well, Kim and Oscar, just come forward. Shannon, do you want to come up here?
We have some gifts here from Logan to our international visitors and speakers today. What we have is basically called Yabba Yabba. Can you say Yabba? Yabba Yabba. Yabba. Not much to teach this bloke our language, eh? Well, Yabba Yabba just basically means clapsticks, which are to keep the beat. It's an important part to our culture because the person that holds the clapsticks actually controls the whole ceremony. That's what I was doing before. And so now it's your turn to control your ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as they receive these traditional clapsticks that they'll take home with them.
Thank you and welcome. I'd also like to acknowledge our acting CEO, Todd Rule, who is down the back here. We have a number of our directors from Logan City Council. We have Robert Strachan with us, Alicia Swain, Silvio Trinca, and I would also particularly like to acknowledge our Director for Innovation and City Transformation, who has led the charge to pulling all of this together and work the team forward to make sure that this all happened today. Can we give them all a big round of applause, and particularly Jane Frawley for the work that she has done. And of course, Logan City Councillors who ensured that we had enough funding to make sure this happened and are right behind the vision of this city to ensure that as we progress into designing Logan to become a second CBD in southeast Queensland, that we do so through an innovative manner and we do so through digital transformation. So thank you, councillors, for your support and the way that you continue to support the vision of our city. Let's give them another round of applause. And Minister De Brenny, who is also the local member for Springwood, thank you for joining us, and Linus Power for hosting us this evening as well. Linus, we do appreciate that. Well, as we progress into this day, I was reflecting on some of the things over our history as to how we're able to arrive to this day. And finding our feet in the future, I think, has been a relentless pursuit for mankind. And it seems that at the dawn of time, we have spent a large majority of our time living today while thinking about tomorrow. And even if you reflect on the moments that you've been walking along the beach and you look into the horizon, you look in the sun, and you often gaze into that horizon moment and you think, what am I going to be doing a decade from now? What motivates me to keep going in my everyday? Or whether it's a moment when you're standing on a mountaintop and you're on a lookout and you forge a distant dream of future aspirations and visions and cast your own goals. In the year that I was born, man landed on the moon for the first time. A result of a futuristic vision set by an inspirational leader determined to transform a nation. It was a moment in time that set about a worldwide chain reaction to focus on futuristic thinking. The space race was spoken of in living rooms throughout the world. TV shows like Star Trek and Lost in Space were religiously watched on a religious basis. Movies like Star Wars gave us images of what we could look like or be doing in the future, although I don't actually like the whole V look and the onesie suit that they all tend to have. If that's the future, I'll stick with this clothing today. But as a child of the 70s, we were almost pushed in this consistent excitement about what the future holds for us. The year 2000 became this mystic point of time focus for all of us. And I remember so many conversations about the year 2000 and what that would look like. cartoons like the Jetsons became an aspirational vision of year 2000. There was even a TV show on Sunday nights called Towards 2000, which exampled innovative products that might be used in that mystical year some 30 years away. And I remember a moment in my primary school. I was in the school library, which was kind of rare at the time. And I remember sitting with some friends, and we were determining how old we would be in year 2000 and what we could imagine would happen in the year 2000. We were thinking of jetpacks and images of computers that would do all our schoolwork for us, so we didn't have to do it. But when the year 2000 finally arrived, and we all survived Y2K and the millennial bug that threatened to shut down the world system, I remember feeling just a little disappointed. There was no promised jetpack. I had no robot butler. I couldn't get beamed up. I couldn't get shot out. I didn't have a full roast meal made in 30 seconds by some food-making machine. The TV show that was exploring the cool things that had changed its name from Toward 2000 to Beyond 2000. And it was almost like we gave up. We just didn't arrive at where we thought we would be. And it was that moment of, well, whatever. But while we hadn't reached the pinnacle of our determined future within those 30 years, another transformation was taking place. And in the same year that man landed on the moon, my family moved to this new and exciting suburb right here in the city of Logan. We moved in a street with only 3 other houses. We had dirt roads, no curb and channeling, no parks, no sewerage. We had garbage men that would run down the street and pick up your rubbish and throw it into the truck. We had phones that were stuck to a wall, and we used to have to dial. It always used to annoy me that the emergency number was the furthest one away. You know, and I'm thinking, if someone's coming at me and you had that O and you go, wait, wait, they're coming at me. I got to call the police. It was always annoying. But we look and transform into where we are today. And we've moved past the black and white TV that had the funny screen, which had that coat hanger stuck in it so that we could have better reception. We've moved past the washing machine where we had a roller on the top that would squeeze out excess water for our clothes. And in year 2000, Logan and the world was a different place. Needed infrastructure was built. The internet had been with us for 10 years. Email was the norm. Mobile phones were a thing and were reducing in size each year. And while we're not depicting the Jetsons, we had still transformed. Fast forward to today, and the transformation of our cities around the world has been dramatic. Digital transformation and innovation happens almost every single day. The need for instant action has become the norm, and leaders around the world now grapple with a different type of infrastructure. And it falls to us as city leaders to ensure that we still look into the future, that we move to future-proofing our cities, ensuring smart city concepts that are in place when needed and necessary, ensuring that digital infrastructure is part of our planning model. It also falls to us to ensure that mistakes of the past are learned from and not repeated. But in this world of rapid change, how do we capture and grasp the needs of the future? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason for Unpacking Innovation series. And it's why I am so excited that you have been able to join us on this journey. The digital world around us changes at such a fast pace that it's difficult to keep up with it. And navigating through the process is not something that we can do or should do alone. And now we at Logan City Council decided to embark on designing our innovation strategy that aligned with our city vision. With so many smart concepts and solutions on the market, we wanted to know what to say no to. We wanted to know what would distract us from our vision and what would actually propel us forward. And as we started to search the globe to find helpful solutions, we quickly realised that while the need for innovation was great, it meant something very different to every city, every region, and every country that we visited. We began to realise that innovation was more than just about smart objects, but it was about grouping people together to find solutions to problems. Now, please don't think by us hosting this event today that we are saying we're leaders in innovation. In fact, our journey has just begun. What we're doing today is hosting the conversation, grouping people together in a collaborative approach to find a way forward in unpacking innovation. It's certainly my hope that as a result of today and tomorrow, we can start a united approach across our regions, across our towns and our cities, and work together in finding needed solutions to real problems. I'm excited that schools are here today, because as we mobilise an entire new generation of people who will lead our city in 20 years from now, they will learn already that finding solutions is something we do together, that they won't have to wait for governments to find those solutions, but they can actually do that for themselves. And so I want to thank the school principals who are here today. We want to ensure that our universities are future-proof, and ensuring that, as we know, that in 10 years from now, 40% of the careers that exist today will not exist in 10 years. What are we doing with our universities to help them future-proof the careers that we have? It's about future job creations. It's about allowing our universities to think differently and think with us. So today you're going to hear some fantastic stories. I'm so excited that Kim from Barcelona is here. Now, Kim, that's what he's asked us to call him. So you heard a different name earlier, so don't get confused. But because of Kim, Barcelona became the first wired city in the world. And he's with us today. And I'm so stoked that we get to hear from him directly, first time in Australia. Oscar is here from Cincinnati, Director of Economic Development in Cincinnati. You will hear from Oscar about how they were able to transform a suburb in their city that was the worst performing suburb in the nation into where they now have $1 million homes, and were able to have smart thinking and smart projects happening right there in the city over a decade. And I'm so proud that, Oscar, you're able to join us today and hear these stories from them. But for the rest of us, the call to action is simple. We want you to participate. This is a conversation that we need to begin. We want you to be part of that conversation. We have workshops, we'll have sessions around the room during the day and tomorrow, and we want you to have your say and speak up. Give us your ideas. Help us to design what that innovation strategy looks like for our city, and help us design what those principles look like for the cities that are represented in this room. Together, we will change not just Queensland, but we will change this nation. And we will ensure, by what happens today, we will future-proof our cities, our regions, our state, and our nation together. Thank you very much, and welcome.